everyone, it's Christy from Green Eyed Tarot, and today I'm here to film a VR to Candy, Soul, and Soil, the hashtag top 10 curiosity decks. This one took me a little bit to film because I really had to go through my whole collection and figure out which ones I felt were the best to fit into this category. So it was really fun to kind of figure out which ones I felt were kind of something you'd find in your cabinet of curiosities, like Candy says in her video. And so it took me a little while to go through and kind of figure out which ones I'd pick. So that was really fun, and I'm really excited to share those with you. So let's get started. Hi again. So hashtag top 10 curiosity decks. So the first one that I chose that I want to share from my collection is the Dark Mansion Tarot, a very popular deck. I think a lot of people have this deck. And for me, it's in some ways, it's really traditional, like RWS clone, you know, in some ways, but in some ways it's, to me, it's very curious and falls into sort of that category of a curiosity deck. So yeah, so definitely I feel like this can fall into that category. Like this fool is like a creepy, weird clown slash jester, and the dog is sort of like trying to pull him back from the cliff. I just think it definitely fits into that category of being curious. Like this magician, to me, like he looks like he has a cabinet of curiosities. He's sort of that like mad scientist. You know, it's very gothic, but you know, to me, this definitely kind of screams like curious. So yeah, so in many ways it is sort of a traditional deck, but in so many ways it's very like a little bit weird and creepy. Like the moon card here, she sort of has like this, like, it looks like a belt, like something hanging from her. It's kind of hard to see, like her belt. And there's this like very weird, like bulging eye dog. So, you know, it definitely to me falls into that category of like the hangman is like a vampire Dracula sort of creature, vampire bat. It's definitely quirky, and like I said, it's very gothic in a way. And I love this deck. It's because of that sort of little creepy gothic feeling it has. So this is definitely one that I would put into that category. Like here, the Three of Swords, there's like a locket of hair, like a locket with hair in it. It's very curious. Like maybe you'd find a locket like that in a cabinet of curiosities. So here's the Judgment card. It's like skeletons and like having a party in the graveyard. And this one's playing the piano, and there's an angel playing the saxophone. So yeah, lots of things going on and lots of just little weird, quirky things. You know, here's like this like very like almost like a carnival. Like this reminds me of like a weird like carnival. Here she is like balancing. She's like a ballerina, but she's like an acrobat, and that gives me like creepy carnival vibes. So yeah, definitely for my collection would put this one in as a curiosity deck, as something that we might find in my cabinet of curiosities. And then next we have the Lilifer Tarot. So this one is by Little Darkness. You can get this off of littledarkness.com, her website. I'm pretty sure it's still available, but so definitely different artwork than, you know, the Dark Mansion, like very different, but still very curious. You know, definitely there's so much symbolism in this deck. I'm actually in the middle of doing a deep dive, so it's still, you know, sort of in order, but it's filled with like very like amorphous, like very like non-shaped beings, and you know, you can't always quite tell what you're looking at. And there's so much, like I said, symbolism in this deck, which is amazing and makes it great for like a deep dive. But it's also definitely, for me, kind of falls in that category of being like a little weird, and definitely quirky. It's so different than so many of the other decks that I have. But like I said, it's just sort of like filled with these like creatures that are, have like weird shaped bodies and weird shaped forms. And like I said, they're surrounded by these symbols. So yeah, to me, this is a very curious deck. It makes you think. The reason I got this deck is because I watched walkthroughs and I was so curious about it. So to me, this definitely falls in to that curiosity deck category, because I definitely like went back and forth about getting this, but I was so curious about the artwork and about the symbolism and about like really diving into it, that for me, this is something that would be in my cabinet of curiosities, because it's just so different than anything I have, and just to me like very quirky and very unique, and definitely one that makes you think. So to me, this is definitely a top 10 curiosity deck. Next, we have the Tarot of Little Secrets. This is really a really quirky, kind of really fun deck. This is by Laura Stamfer and Sam Lofgren. And yeah, this is definitely one to go in the curiosity cabinet for sure. It is very quirky. So the Tarot of Little Secrets, basically in each card, there's like little hidden pictures, and in the guidebook, they sort of give you a hint after like the card meetings and like them talking about the artwork, and they'll kind of give a little hint about where the little secret might be hidden in the card. So this for me definitely falls into that category of a curiosity deck. It's, like I said, quirky and weird. You can see it's a little bit hard to see in some of the cards, but when you look at them, there's these hidden, like this is like a little figure, within the artwork. So to me, it's like this is one that like you have to really look at it and really study it. Like here you can see there's like a face right here, and there's a clock with wings like sort of flying above the Knight of Swords. So it's very layered. It's just a really great little deck. I don't really hear a lot about this deck. So you can see there's like a face here. It is like a collage deck. There's faces here. There's just images here. It's like, these look like bricks, but if you look closely, there's images in them. So it's very weird to me, very, very quirky, very curious, like because you're looking so closely at the images. And like I said, this is not a deck I hear a lot about. I'm definitely planning on filming a walkthrough because I feel like it deserves attention. It's so quirky and so different. And I just love it. It's like I said, the Tarot of Little Secrets. And in every card, there's definitely little secrets hidden. Sometimes there's more than one. Like they talk about one in the guidebook, but like you can find so much. Like here, there's like, it's so hard to see, I know, but there's like a little Hamsa hand there. And so, yeah, so it adds like a lot of meaning to the cards. Here you can see there's like a little face there. Sometimes they're hidden, sometimes they're more more apparent when you're looking at them. But yeah, this deck is definitely falls within my collection as a top 10 curiosity deck for sure. And I look forward to planning, to film a full walkthrough of this deck, because like I said, it's really great. I don't hear a lot about it, but it's very cool. And going through the guidebook and finding the little secrets in each card is just really fun. It's like another way to use this deck that's really fun. So that's the Tarot of Little Secrets. I believe it's still available on Etsy. I think so. So the next deck is the Lonely Dreamer Tarot. This is by M. Wotherspoon. So now this is a deck that uses pre-existing artwork and sort of reimagines it into the tarot. This is another one that, really gets you to think, because you really have to go looking for the meanings, and really study it. But it's just really wonderful. It's very deep. It's very deep. And to me, that makes, you know, for a great curiosity deck, because you really have to, you know, sort of study the images and go through the cards to find the meanings. And sort of like definitely not traditional, because it's using, you know, pre-existing artwork that has been with like different pieces have been added to it. So here you can see like the 10 of Wands. So there's the creator, you know, added elements to it to fit it in each card. But it's just a very, very cool deck. I'm like very happy I got it. Here's the Hangman. It's like a locket with this face on it. It's so, again, like I find it to be so quirky, and I hate to use the word weird, but I'm weird. I like, you know, I'm starting to really appreciate weirder decks, you know, ones that are a little bit more unique, you know, that move away from those traditional images. I relied on the RWS for so long, and it's really, you know, I have so many RWS clones. I'm really liking kind of moving into decks that are more non-traditional, and this definitely falls into that category. This is the Fool card. I mean, it's so curious. Definitely falling within the realm of top 10 curiosity decks. There are extra cards in this deck, so if you see ones that are not traditional, ancestors, there's, you know, a few extra cards that come with the deck, but just really, there's the Page of Wands. Very curious, something I would definitely have in my cabinet of curiosities for sure. And that's the Lonely Dreamer Tarot. Next I have the Pams Vintage Tarot. So kind of talking about traditional RWS. This is obviously a Rider-Waite-Smith deck. It's just made to look like it's vintage, and I just feel like this is definitely something that would be found in an old cabinet of curiosities. You can see the backs sort of look like they're like faded and worn and like stained, maybe like they look like burned almost, you know, almost like they've had damage, like sustained damage, or they're just very old. So I definitely feel like this is something, you know, you could find in a cabinet of curiosities, just for the mere fact that it's just made to look like it's old. So hence the name Pam's Vintage Tarot. But this is the RWS, you know, traditional RWS that I would definitely find in my cabinet of curiosities, just because of the aesthetic of it. You know, it's made to look obviously old and used and worn. So I feel like this is like the copy of the RWS you would find in a cabinet of curiosities, way at the back maybe, you know, that's on sort of like flaking and like parchment paper, you know, that's, you know, been handled so many times through the years and used. And so that's kind of why I picked this one, just because it definitely has that feeling of being a curiosity, you know, deck, just from, you know, it looking like it's been worn and used and old. And I got this, I believe it was Make Playing Cards. So yeah, this is the from Make Playing Cards. It's awesome. I kind of love this, like the coloration, and it's just all faded, and I definitely love this. I do love the traditional, you know, kind of brighter colors, but this, I do like this, just this, the way it looks so vintage and like tea stained. I love it. So yeah, definitely be found in our cabinet of curiosities. Next up is the Tarot aux Remords Étranges, and this is a French deck. I actually just did a walkthrough of this last week and put it up. So this is a French deck. It's absolutely gorgeous. It's just like the color, everything, the theme of the deck is just like right up my alley, definitely. But yeah, it's definitely not traditional. It's very unique and quirky, and it sort of features like, there's a lot of like faceless, like this card. There's a lot of like, just basically features a lot of these sort of like figures without faces that are sort of like absorbing the energy like in the card. It's like the best way I can describe it. But yeah, so I would definitely put this, so you can see like the Two of Cups, like it's definitely quirky. It's definitely different. The kings in this deck are goddesses. So this is the goddess of wands. So you can see like no eye, like just like no eyeballs, like these. She's got this like crystal in the middle of her. It's just very, I would definitely put this in as, you know, one of my top 10 curiosity decks for sure. I'm just getting to know it. I literally like just got it in only a few weeks ago. I did the walkthrough, but I feel like it's perfect for this tag. It's gorgeous. I love the artwork, but it's definitely very curious, very non-traditional imagery. You know, a lot of the figures are, you know, nude, but like just in a very like primal way, you know. I love this temperance card with the two little shells. It's like very up close, but you still have like the moon. It's just a really beautiful deck. And here's the hanged man. So again, not a very traditional image for the hanged man. So again, you really have to look closely at the cards to get the meaning, and I'm just loving that aspect because like I said, I've used like the regular traditional RWS for so long. I'm really leaning towards, you know, cards that make me think and cards that really, you know, spark that curiosity in me. So this is perfect for the top 10 curiosity decks. I'm really looking forward to getting to know this more, working with it more. But yeah, it's very quirky and very curious, and I'm really loving it. So that's the Tarot Au Remords Étrange. I believe I got this on Amazon. I think in my walkthrough video I definitely linked, so you can check that out if you're interested. I linked the link to where you can get this and the link to the creator's Instagram. So definitely check it out. It's beautiful. The next one is the Noisy Museum Tarot. Sorry, there's a glare. The Noisy Museum Tarot. This is by LA Green Witch. She's on Instagram. She posts like amazing content. So yeah, and I believe this was from Game Crafter. So yeah, so this is actually completely in order because I just got this very recently, and I plan to do a full walkthrough of it because it deserves it. So basically, again, this is pre-existing artwork, but it's done in collage. So the creator kind of took pieces of just like a larger painting, you know, or sculpture, and then collaged and like her own images and sort of, you know, just did a collage and using just pre-existing artwork. So again, it's in order still, but it's amazing, this deck. I'm so happy that I got this. If you're like an art history nerd or like love art, but it's also very curious. So to me, this is like a deck that would be in a cabinet of curiosities, maybe in an art museum, an old, you know, museum, a museum of antiquities. Like it's gorgeous. But it's so quirky. Like the emperor here, like the diamonds, like look at the emperor, and like we wanted to convey that solid, that rock hard foundation, and there's two diamonds here. So just again, very curious, is really making you study the images, you know, find the meanings. Again, I'm repeating myself, but I'm very drawn to these decks lately. And so you see the lovers, there's like this entwined like serpent holding like this pearl. It's just, yeah, again, a lot of layers, but using like beautiful pre-existing artwork. Look at the strength card. It's like, it looks like a woman, most likely a female, or, you know, and then she's got a leash on like this dragon. Again, so weird, so quirky. I absolutely adore it. Definitely going into my cabinet of curiosities. It's a new deck to my collection. I can't wait to do a full walkthrough of it and just like talk about these wonderful images and the artwork and the choices that, you know, the artist made in when, you know, she was making her collage. Just, yeah, it's amazing. I'm super excited to work with it, to get to know it. Again, it when I saw it, I became curious, and curious and curious, and I just had to have it. So again, it belongs in the top 10 curiosity decks. Definitely belongs in my cabinet of curiosities. So that's the Noisy Museum Tarot. So next up is an oracle deck. This is a Compendium of Witches, oracle by Natasha Elinsik. And this was a Kickstarter I backed it was probably last year, might be even like a year and a half. But yes, so this is an oracle deck. This deck is just absolutely gorgeous. And it's sort of like finding like a book, again, a Compendium of Witches, and oddly enough, the creator created a book first and then created the deck. So I don't have the book, but she did create a book. So it's like a book of lore, like filled with different witch archetypes or witches you would meet. So here's the laborer, and then it also has like items that kind of like the witch would use. Here's the shapeshifter. This deck is gorgeous. The cardstock is like divine. It's so beautifully produced. But definitely, you know, to me, here's one of the objects or an action. So it's thaw. I mean, definitely just a gorgeous deck. And like I said, almost like a book that you would find in your cabinet of curiosities that, here's the memory, you know, that where you find just this compendium of lore about different witches and witch archetype. So there's the Veil Walker, the Crossroads, Oath. So definitely very curious. And again, something I feel you would definitely find in the Wind Rider. You would find in a cabinet of curiosities, you know, like I said, filled with an old grimoire, an old book that contains the spells of all these fabulous witches. I definitely can see this being part of my cabinet of curiosities. The Storyteller, it's gorgeous. The Companion. This artist and creator is actually working on a mass market tarot deck right now, and I'm super excited because she's extremely talented and I love her artwork. But yeah, this is a fabulous oracle. I don't have a lot of oracle decks. I don't use them very often, but this one is like one of my favorites and definitely belongs in the top 10 curiosity deck category, a Compendium of Witches. Next up is another oracle deck. This is the Secrets of Wandwood by Jackie Lovesey. And so this is based on a series of books and sort of this entire world that she's created called Winchett Dale. Matlock the Hare is one of the main characters. So this is sort of based on the books that she has written in this, like I said, this world that she's created. And it's just filled with these like really cute, you know, quirky characters and like, you know, creatures that you would meet. And I just think it definitely belongs in the cabinet of curiosities. So this is sort of like a stone creature. So definitely curious. Like here's a frog. And then here's like, this is like some sort of radish or something growing, you know, but he's a character. He's somebody you would meet in the Wandwood. Again, here, it looks like a head of lettuce, a little head of lettuce with a face. And then this, like, you see the tree has a face. It's just this world that they've created. I believe it's her and her husband. Is just so magical. And you just want to go there and meet all these creatures. And again, it makes me so curious, you know, about this world that she's created. And I just love it. And I feel like it definitely belongs in the cabinet of curiosities, the curious creatures. Like, look at this. They're like birds, but they also have like kangaroo feet and these interesting tails. And they're just, I mean, they're just so quirky and it's just so fun. And there's just so many different, you know, creatures and characters you can meet in the Wandwood. So, and the guidebook is wonderful because it takes you through, you know, obviously the Wandwood and who these, you know, who these creatures are and how they fit into the story and the card meanings that go with them. So it's just, it's so beautiful. I have her other deck, the Arboretum. I could easily put that one in this category. I picked this one. This is the newer one. This is the newer Kickstarter that I backed. But really, honestly, you could put, you know, either one of them into this top 10 curiosity, because it just makes you filled with wonder and curiosity, and you want to meet these creatures and spend time with them. Look at this. I mean, I can't. I mean, not only is it curious, but it's adorable. So yeah, so that's the Secrets of Wandwood Oracle, and that's by Jackie Lovesy. And that was a Kickstarter that I backed recently. And so the last deck, because I think I'm on number 10, is pretty much my soul deck, and the deck I didn't even know I needed in my life, and that's the Dreamkeeper's Tarot. I filmed a deep dive of the major arcana for this deck. It is just beautiful and weird and full of depth and character and curiosity, and I just absolutely love it. It's probably still in order because, like I said, I filmed a deep dive of the major arcana. I'm still going through the minors, so but it is definitely, like I said, a soul deck for sure. It is so beautiful and dreamy, and again, some of it is so it's just, it evokes like these feelings of like ethereal beings and like sort of, I don't know, just the liminal space. It's just so wonderful and so beautiful, and I can't say enough about this deck. But it is curious, and I said, like, weird and quirky, and definitely not traditional at all. The guidebook is absolute gold in, you know, just talking about the imagery, but it's just, yes, definitely in the front of my curiosity cabinet, where I can readily reach it and take it out and just be transported, like I said, into this liminal space and just, you know, feed my curiosity. Favorite card in the deck is this card, 100%. Oh my God, 100% my favorite card in this deck. The Fates, it's supposed to be the Wheel of Fortune. Just, I mean, it's just so beautiful and so ethereal and just celestial, and I don't know how many other words I can come up for this, but yeah, top 10 curiosity deck, number one deck for me, has been now for a while, and I don't see that changing just because it is so wonderful. But so this is the Dreamkeeper's Tarot by Liz Houston. Curiosity, definitely quirky, beautiful, layered, full of depth, and just making me want to use it all the time and never put it away. So that's the Dreamkeeper's Tarot by Liz Houston. To say I love it is an understatement. But there you have it, my top 10 curiosity decks. Hopefully you've seen some decks maybe you haven't seen before, and maybe got reacquainted with some that you have, and makes you want to pull them out and work with them. But I'm so excited to watch like the rest of the VRs to this tag. It's so fun. It's making me find those quirky and like really non-traditional decks that I'm really like craving working with in the last couple of weeks. So yeah, so I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.